Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. Today we have a dedicated slot and dedicated episode with regards to Qurbaani. As usual on our SANHA program, we get one of the staff members from SANHA, that is Uncle Mahmood, Muhammad Booley. Uncle Mems, who's fondly known as Uncle Mems. MashaAllah, he's a member of Jamiatul Ulama South Africa. He's also the Chief Inspector at SANHA. Uncle Mems is also Halal Coordinator with Muslim Prison Board, and Uncle Mahmood been doing Qurbaani with Dadul Uloom Zakaria from last 40 years, and mashallah he's 76 years old. I just asked him now, still going strong. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him good health, give him good life, and grant him afiyat inshallah. And Uncle Mahmood is with Ma'kulat for last 47 years with SANHA. Prior to SANHA, Uncle Mahmood was also involved with Mufti Bashir Sanjalvi from that time. So wealth of experience that we have as far as Qurbaani, as far as halal slaughtering, and as far as Ma'kulat is concerned. Let me firstly warmly welcome Uncle Mahmood, who's sitting in front of me in the studios of Radio Islam. Uncle Mahmood, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah, at your age, at 76, you made it to the radio station, and we always enjoy some bit of humor from your side. You always have some witty one-liners that we look forward to. But Jazakallahu khairan for joining us this Monday evening on Radio Islam. How are you doing, Uncle Mahmood?
Alhamdulillah, shukr to Allah Pak.
So if you have any questions, any queries for any of our guests, as I mentioned, this is a dedicated fiqh-related Qurbaani program that we are having, Qurbaani Q&A program that we are having on Radio Islam International. If you want to ask any question to any of our guests, we'll be starting off with Uncle Mahmood from SANHA. After 8 p.m, Mufti Yusuf Musaji will be joining us. And then after 9 p.m, Mufti Muhammad Hafaji from the Finance Desk of Jamiatul Ulama South Africa, he will be also joining us, and we'll end the program with the last 15 or so minutes with Mufti Razin Baghdadi, who will be doing Shafi-related Qurbaani frequently asked questions. So let's start off immediately with Uncle Mahmood. Firstly, Uncle Mahmood, can you kindly explain to our listeners the different species of animals for Qurbaani that we can use and we can slaughter?
Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem, amma ba'd. I'm honored to be here with you and Radio Islam staff always. Allah bring you from strength to strength, inshallah.
Amen.
Regarding that question you asked, I condensed my questions because it's only half an hour. In fact, with the adverts and all, it's not really half an hour, but alhamdulillah, whatever we can explain for the benefit of our listeners, here goes. Allah Ta'ala tells us in the Holy Quran, first of all, regarding cattle, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tathbahu baqara. Verily Allah Ta'ala has commanded you to slaughter the cow. So cows and buffaloes come in the ambit of this ayat, and cows should be 2 years and older. Bulls, that is oxen, should be 2 years and older. And Allah Ta'ala tells us also about the camel. فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. Read namaz to your Rabb and make nahar. Now you notice here the Quran ayat is not saying slaughter the camel, it's saying make nahar of the camel. The reason for this is, in the case of cattle, they say antazbahu baqara, you slaughter the ox, is because the blood vessels are further apart, so it necessitates slaughter. In the case of camels, the blood vessels are very close to the food pipe and windpipe. That's why you make nahar, that is, you pierce the throat of the camel. And camels should be 5 years old and older. 5 years and more. And then, because it's Qurbaani and the injunctions of the Quran regarding Ibrahim alayhi salam and the powerful dream that he had about his son, he's supposed to sacrifice his son. And this sacrifice was substituted with a ram. So rams and sheep and goats come in the ambit of this ayat, where we slaughter rams and goats. And as far as goats are concerned, in the abattoir I learned, I spent 22 years in Study Deep, 1977, and the doctor taught me that if you open the mouth of the goats, you'll find the two front is a little bigger than the others and slightly spaced. If it's not slightly spaced, it's not yet 1 year old. And in that case now, the lambs should be 1 year old, but if they are grazing amongst or in a kraal with lambs that are nice and fat and big, that are 6 months old and more, and they look like the 1 year old, that's also permissible for slaughter. So in this case now, the cattle I mentioned, the sheep I mentioned, and I mentioned the camel. The camel is quite a large animal. It's an awesome animal. I did witness to at one stage. And when you make nahar of the camel, it goes down very fast. It bleeds very fast. So in the case of camel, we should make also niyat that Rasulullah rode the camel. Rasulullah used the camel for many reasons. And we should also, in our minds, think that inshallah one day we make niyat that we will also ride the camel. I think in Pakistan, Mr. Nolaki and I were there in Pakistan a few good years ago, and we did ride the camel there, alhamdulillah, with a niyat of sunnat. So those are the species of animals we're talking about.
MashaAllah. Uncle Mahmood, talking about sunnat, and normally people like myself, we only get to slaughter once a year, and mashallah, every day you are in that field for many, many years. As I mentioned in my introduction, for past 40 years you've been busy with Qurbaani, with Darul Zakaria. So from your expert opinion, what has Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught us with regards to humane treatment of animals?
That is very, very important, because every year the SPCA gets hold of us, and that is not to Jamiatul Ulama South Africa. We take part in the Council of Ulama, the UQSA, where Maulana Ibrahim and all of them are involved, and we speak to the SPCA. In fact, they complain so much about our people. We're supposed to be teaching them, but because Rasulullah taught us so many things, Inna Allah kataba al-ihsan ala kulli shayin, iza qataltum fa ahsinu al-qitla, wa iza dhabahtum fa ahsinu al-dhibh. Rasulullah taught us that when you slaughter, when you kill, you should kill well, and when you slaughter, then you should also slaughter well. We should do it in a good, humane manner. And now this humane manner we're talking about, first of all, when our animals are in our corrals or we got animals at home, make sure you give them fresh water like you drink fresh water. We should give them also. We should see that they, one tip I will give also. When we put the grass on the ground when it's dry season, when we put grass on we shouldn't put it on the ground, because the animals urinate on it and they don't eat it after that. So what we should do, we should build a small elevated pen, and in there we put the grass, let them eat from the top, so that they don't mess and urinate on the carcasses. Then, of course, we should not put the blood of one animal into the head into already a pen. I mean, where we slaughter the masbah itself, where the animals are slaughtered, and then we put another animal in its place in that blood. That is very, very bad. And also to delay the slaughter. That's also another very bad factor. But Rasulullah taught us, besides physical maltreatment to animals, psychological also, where we put the animal for a long time. We should read our niyats and all that, in inna salat nusuki, all those niyats for Qurbaani, while we laying the animal down, not when the animal is down already. Because there's people around, there's people talking loud, people screaming, people reading takbir. They think it's a pious thing to do. They should read the takbir softly, not loudly, where you excite the animal. So then what Rasulullah taught us is that the maltreatment of the animal psychologically, where we use a blunt knife for a start, we put the animal down for a long time, and we put one head, like I said, the head in the blood of the other animal, and all these things are very, very bad in the treatment of animals. So we should be swift. When our animal is down already, we should be ready to slaughter that animal. Then, of course, we're talking about blunt knives. We should sharpen our knife, and the sharpening of the knife should be done not in the area where the animals are, where they hear the knives being sharpened. Like our abattoirs, the SANHA abattoirs also, the knives are sharpened elsewhere. Then they come to the masbah itself, the slaughter area. They slaughter the animals. They don't sharpen the knives in front there. All right, talking about sharpening of the knives, I have another tip for our people, for our listeners, is that there are 3 places now that I know for Sahuda to make easy for our people.
Yes.
Like in Indonesia, for example, we have Shahnawaz. You know the Shahnawaz butchery that was before there in Broach Avenue? Shahnawaz is at home now. 119 Sunbird Avenue. 119 Sunbird Avenue. And there's another one also, Abdul Ghani Muhammad. Number 6, Patria Street, Extension 3. He also does professional sharpening of knives, so for the benefit of our people. Then in the Fordsburg area, Joburg area, you get Sati Saw Sharpeners. Diagonally across from Postmay Butchery in Crown Road. I don't know the address, but diagonally opposite Postmay Butchery, they also sharpen knives. They sharpen on a stone, in fact. So your knife should be very sharp when you're going to slaughter the animal. Then in the Kitabs of Fiqh, they mention for emergency, if you don't have a knife, maybe you're in a forest, maybe in a desert, and there isn't a knife available. Then in that case, the Ibadat say, وَيَجُوزُ الذَّبُّ بِالْنِيتَةِ وَالْمَرْوَةِ وَبِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ أَنَا رَدَّمْ إِلَى سِنَّ الْقَائِمَ وَطُفَ الْقَائِمِ. يَجُوزُ الذَّبُّ بِالْنِيتَةِ. It is permissible to use a lita is a sharp bamboo. A sharp bamboo, or بِالْمَرْوَةِ, or a sharp stone. You should use for slaughter. وَبِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ أَنَا رَدَّمْ, or anything that can cause blood to flow. Inna sinna al-qaim wa dhuful al-qaim. You can't use your teeth, you can't use your nails. Rasulullah didn't teach us those barbaric things to do. So we don't sharpen, we don't use that for slaughtering animals.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. Just to remind our listeners, time right now is 12 minutes to 8 o'clock. This is our special dedicated Qurbaani related program. And in the studios of Radio Islam, we have Uncle Mahmood Booley from SANHA, who's discussing with regards to Qurbaani. Uncle Mahmood, you mentioned 3 places, Shahnawaz, Abdul Ghani on 6 Patria Street, Extension 3. Patria Street in Extension 3 and City Saw Sharpeners. These are the 3 places if anybody or any listeners would like to sharpen their knives. Now, one of the ladies and sisters wants to know, are women also allowed to slaughter?
Of course, women are allowed to slaughter. It comes in the hadith, إِنَّ مَرَأَةً ذَبَتْ شَاةً بِحَجَرٍ فَسُئِلَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ عَنْ ذَلِكَ فَأَمَرَ بِأَكْلِهَا. Once a woman slaughtered a goat with a sharp stone. So Rasulullah was asked about this, that this woman, a lady slaughtered for a start, then she used a sharp stone. Is it permissible? In other words, فَسُئِلَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ Rasulullah was asked about this. فَأَمَرَ بِأَكْلِهَا. He gave permission to eat that carcass. So women are allowed to slaughter, but they should be cleared properly in public places and so on. And not only women, even men, you know, when they bend down to skin their carcass and all those, pick up the offal and all that. Sometimes their backs open from the back, the men. So their satar gets opened also. So they should also watch that the satar is closed.
Jazakallah. Now, we would like to do everything according to the sunnat and what's the correct process, prerequisites. So, Uncle Mahmood, if you can kindly mention, what are some of the requisites of the Islamic slaughter?
We can start off with the Qibla. To face Qibla in slaughter is not compulsory, it is mustahab. Like, for example, if you're going to drop that bull with a rope, for example, and that animal is laying down already, you shouldn't now take the trouble of turning that bull, that big beast. He's going to get up, you're going to get hurt, children will get hurt, that animal will get hurt even. So it is mustahab to face the Qibla. If your animal is down already, it's not facing Qibla, you should slaughter that animal because it is not compulsory to face the Qibla. Then we're going to, now as far as the needs are concerned, I mentioned when we lay the animal down, then all your needs should be done already. Then I want to explain about the tasmiyah, the Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, but that's all you read when you slaughter the animal. That comes from the Quran ayat, فَكُلُوا مِمَّا ذُكِرَ اسْمُ عَلَيْهِ وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ عَلَيْهِ. That's in fact we learned from Mufti Bashir Sanjalbi, rahmatullahi alayhi, those years, Jamiatul Ulama Transvaal time. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا ذُكِرَ اسْمُ عَلَيْهِ. Eat that on which Allah Ta'ala's name is mentioned. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا لَمْ يُذْكَرِ اسْمُ عَلَيْهِ. Do not eat that on which Allah Ta'ala's name is not mentioned. Now in the Kitabs of Fiqh they mention two words there. One is Amadan and one is Nisyanan. Intentionally, Amadan you left out the tasmiyah, that animal, that carcass is not halal to eat, but Nisyanan, a person forgets. The word insan, human being, comes from the root word nasiya. He's prone to forget.
Yes.
So when he forgets, then it is permissible to eat that carcass. Then we're going to slaughter the animal now. And in the Kitabs of Fiqh they mention al-uruku allati tuktu fi zakati arba'atun al-hulqum wal-mari wal-wadajan. The vessels to be severed at the time of slaughter are four. Arba'atun al-hulqum, the windpipe, that's the grey one in front. I always say we've seen thousands and thousands of carcasses in our life slaughtered because of the abattoirs and so on, like Mulana also mentioned. But you people see this once a year.
Yes.
So you must observe what you're cutting here, what vessels you are severing. So al-hulqum is the windpipe, wal-mari, that's the food pipe behind it, the meaty one, wal-wadajan, and the two blood vessels. Right, these are the four vessels to be severed. The windpipe, food pipe, and the two blood vessels. Now in a kitab called Hidayah, they mentioned there the reason for severing the blood vessels. يَتَمَيْزُ الدَّمُ النَّجِسْ مِنَ اللَّحْمِ الطَّاهِرِ. It separates the unclean blood from the pure meat. So the Islamic slaughter teaches you to have a carcass that is pure. The blood is out, unclean blood itself is out, and it is ready for putting in a pot later. Yeah.
MashaAllah. Let's move on further. Next question with regards to Qurbaani and Aqiqah. So is it permissible, Uncle Mahmood, to use an ox for Qurbaani and Aqiqah together?
Yes, you can. You can use a ox 5 shares for Qurbaani and 2 shares for Aqiqah. We can do that also. Or 6 shares for, if it's in the case of a girl, then it's 6 and 1. You can use that for Qurbaani and for Aqiqah.
Uncle Mahmood, sometimes we purchase an animal about 3-4 weeks before Eid al-Adha, before Qurbaani, and then on the day of Eid we realize that this animal that we purchase is actually pregnant. So can pregnant animals be used for Qurbaani?
This is a very interesting question. You don't see an animal that's pregnant and you slaughter it. People find out after it's slaughtered that this animal, there's a baby in that body of that mother. Now, 2 interesting things I want to say. One is in the Kitabs of Fiqh they mention وَمَنْ نَحَرَ نَاقَةً أَوْ بَقَرَةً أَوْ شَاةً فَوَجَدَ فِي بَطْنِهَا جَنِينًا مَيِّتًا لَمْ يُؤْكَلْ. As far as that fetus is concerned, we've seen a lot in Saudi Jeep where they slaughtered and the baby comes out after they open they open the carcass. In that case, if that baby is not yet formed, is dead, then that can't be eaten, lam yukal. But if I seen once in Saudi Jeep, I did mention this before, I think, I was standing on the sheep line, and the conveyor system that they use, they put the sheep on a conveyor, and the conveyor is moving. So like that, they slaughter about 12 sheep per minute, right, in abattoirs. So what happened there is I was standing on the side, and they put one of the sheep on the belt, but as she landed, she gave birth. A full baby fell out of her. But she was moving on the conveyor. She got slaughtered. Now, how interesting Rasulullah teaches this thing. Now, she already got slaughtered, and I ran to the veterinarian. I told him, "Doctor, come." In Afrikaans, come here quickly. Come see her, the mother is already cut. The baby is crying here. Can we give the baby a little bit milk? So he said, "No, Muhammad, no milk for this baby." I said, "Why, doctor?" He said, "No, this baby didn't drink the colostrum of the mother. There's a sticky substance on the breast that the baby drinks, and it causes the dirt." He said, "The tear moet uitkom, the tar must come out. The tar in the stomach can only come out if that baby drinks the colostrum. This baby is going to bloat and die naturally." Immediately, 2 things. One is that what was I saying? I lost my track a little bit.
So you were mentioning about the baby, slaughtering the baby.
Yeah. One is that in the Kitabs of Fiqh, in the slaughter masail and so on of Qurbaani, they mention if you slaughter the mother and you find the baby, slaughter the baby. It comes in our kitabs. Now, I checked in Quduri, in a kitab called Quduri, not in the Hashya, not in the footnote, not in the text, in the Hashya. You find there, Rasulullah himself is saying, Zakatul Janin, Zakatul Ummi. 1400 years ago, Zakatul Janin, Zakatul Ummi. When you slaughter the mother, slaughter the baby also. 1400 years, Rasulullah taught this already.
Subhanallah. Quite interesting, and what your vast experience, we get to learn all this. Jazakallah khair. As we are approaching the news bulletin at 8 p.m., final question, Uncle Mahmood, related to our topic, what does the Quran mention about milk?
It's related to our topic here, that's why I'm mentioning it. I was thinking the other day, we sit and we think of this ayat of the Quran, how Allah Ta'ala teaches us these things. وَإِنَّ لِلْأَنْعَامِ لَعِبْرَةً نُسْقِيكُمْ فِيمَا بُطُونِهِ بين فرث ودم لبنا خالصا سائغا للشاربين. Subhanallah. وإن للعام لعبرة. Allah Ta'ala tells us, in cattle there is a lesson. نسقيكم, we give you to drink. فيما بين فرث ودم فيما بطونه فرث ودم. In the stomachs, in its stomachs, it's between the excreta and the blood. لبنا خالصا, pure milk. Now, that's what I want to explain. That, alhamdulillah, not one piece of grass going in that milk, not piece of one drop of blood going in that milk. Pure laban and khalisan, pure milk for people to, palatable for people to drink. Now, the dung that they use, sometimes you dry the dung, like in India, if you go, I remember many years ago when I went, they used the dung plows, and they use it for fertilizer and so on.
Yes.
Right. As far as the blood is concerned, الحرم عليكم الميتة والدم ولحم الخنزير وما أهل لغير الله به. 4 things are haram here. Quickly, I'll tell you. The one, of course, is لحم الميتة, animals that die before slaughter, and the other one is dam, blood itself. Now, in abattoirs, like Sati Deep also, what they used to do, they call it a blood pool. All the sheep and cattle's blood go down into blood pool.
Yes.
And there's a machine that processes that blood. They remove the water from the blood. And you get dry blood powder. 50 kilo bags, hundreds and hundreds of it they make. Hundreds of it they make. They call it blood meal. That blood meal, if all dog foods and all these guys, I think they use it as an ingredient and for many other uses. So from why I said it's related to Qurbaani milk because of our carcasses is because Allah Ta'ala has told us that that milk comes pure between the excreta and the blood. Subhanallah.
Subhanallah. MashaAllah, quite interesting and very informative discussion that you gave us, Uncle Mahmood. Uncle Mahmood Muhammad Booley, who is a member of Jamiatul Ulama South Africa. Uncle Mahmood is also the Chief Inspector at SANHA, Halal Coordinator at Muslim Prison Board, and who's been doing Qurbaani for past 40 years at Darul Uloom Zakaria. Currently, Uncle Mahmood is 76 years old, MashaAllah. May Allah grant him good life and long life as well. And also, he's in Ma'kulat from past 47 years. Before Jamiatul Ulama South Africa, it was Jamiatul Ulama Transvaal. So Jazakallah khair for your wealth of experience and the answers that you gave now. We appreciate it, and inshallah, hopefully, in future again, we will benefit from it.
Can I tell you quickly something?
Yes, go ahead.
You said I must tell you a light one.
Yeah.
This male sheep told a female sheep,
yes.
How about a date day?
How to?
So she said, you're an alu. She said, why am I alu? Say, yes, like a long time we could have had a date, man. Now it's Qurbaani time, they're going to slaughter us both.
Jazakallah, that's the light moment from Uncle Mahmood Booley from SANHA.